What's up, everybody? Ask Coach Ben podcast. I'm here with Jim from Jiu-Jitsu Magazine. Shout out to Muscle Farm. What do we got, Jim?
All right, I think this is something that all of us can relate to. Anyone who trains, whether it's jiu-jitsu or even your typical gym rat that goes to the gym, you have some essentials that you want to pack your bag with, and you have some thoughts on this. So, Coach Ben, the question is, what should I put in my gym bag when I get ready for a jiu-jitsu workout?
Okay, so we're speaking specifically of jiu-jitsu, correct?
Sure, sure.
So, my thoughts on this, and I'm going to get into a pretty long list after I say this. So, my thoughts on this are that you should only have the things that you absolutely need. My opinion is to be a minimalist here. If your academy has it, don't bring it. Right? Why? Why bring it? It's just another piece of thing in your bag that you have to carry. It makes it heavy. So, like an example there would be like if your academy has, tape, right? Maybe you just use their tape, right? If your academy has foam rollers, don't need to bring your own foam roller. So as far as must-haves, I think you must have your uniform, right? If you train in the gi, you must have your gi. You must have your belt.
Your belt, yes.
You must have a rash guard. Your shorts, if you do no gi, right? Also must have, if you do multiple classes, I think you must have a spare uniform, an extra rash guard. When I was at Professor Sean Williams' academy, he would require people to change out of what they just wore from the 6 p.m. class. The 7 p.m. class, you got to change. You can't be wearing the same sweaty stuff because the people that are coming into class, they're coming in fresh with new gear, and you're sweating on them just doing technique. That's not cool. You shouldn't have a wet gi already if you're going into a brand new class. And I think a lot of people don't realize that. A lot of people just, they're just wearing the same gi for like 4 classes in a row, and that's not cool to your teammates. So the must-haves to me are just uniform. The stuff that you need to train, right? Another must-have would be water, right? Water. Some kind of fluids. If you're going to train for extended periods of time, you should have not just water, but you should have like Gatorade. You should have carbohydrates. You should have some electrolytes and carbohydrates if you're going to train for over an hour, for example. If you train over an hour, you're going to run out of energy, right? So you're going to need carbohydrates, electrolytes, and fluids. Okay, those I think are the absolute must-have necessary things, right? Water, electrolytes, carbs, and then your uniform that you need to train, right? If right then and there, if you don't need nothing else, that's all you need. Stop the podcast.
Pretty simple. Pretty simple.
But of course, there's esoteric things and gadgets that you can bring that can help you. And I am kind of a gadget guy. I like gadgets. So this is not like a in order list, right? So these are all things that are kind of just random. But soft tissue things, right? A lacrosse ball, right? A lacrosse ball is very small. Tennis ball can work. Golf ball can work. It's a small little ball that you can use to kind of roll out your soft tissue, your hip flexors, your triceps, your feet, having a small little tennis ball or a golf ball that you can roll your arches out on feels very good. And, there might be some benefits to that. So having that, a soft tissue tool, a small foam roller. So my favorite one is the rumble roller. So the travel-sized rumble roller, in black, the heavy-duty one. There's a blue one that's kind of soft. I like the black one that's more rigid. So a small foam roller that fits in your bag. Just something like that. Okay. So soft tissue tools for self-massage. Another thing you can have that again is not a must-have, but for a lot of people it is. If you train the gi especially, tape. Right. So having tape is important. My favorite brand is the this is not it actually, but the Johnson & Johnson brand is my favorite. The Johnson & Johnson brand just tends to tear very easy. My recommendation is if you're going to use a lot of tape, just buy the case. And I've had that case for like 2 or 3 years now. Tape for your fingers, for your wrist, for anything else, right? So tape is important. What else? Bands, right? So if you
like resistance bands,
yeah, like short bands, like mini bands, flat bands. So my favorite bands to put in my jiu-jitsu gear are flat bands. Okay, they're very thin. They can roll up into kind of like a towel almost, but you can pull them apart. They're good for shoulders. They're good for shoulder pull aparts. They're good for just small joint movements.
activating your muscles.
Activating. You can do the loop bands. Like the mini bands. You can have a couple of those for side shuffles. There's just many things you can do with bands. So I always have like a little band in there, a little mini band, and then a flat band. So I have one of each. You can also use a long band, so the big rubber band type of things, but those tend to get a little more clunky. Mm-hmm. I don't really like putting those in my gear bag too much. Bands. Other things you can have that, again, these are just suggestions, right? If you need it, have it. But if you don't need it, don't have it. Hygiene stuff. So Neosporin, right? If you have a small cut, Neosporin's good, right? Not many people maybe have heard of this, but Hebe Cleanse. Hebe Cleanse is the kind of the, it's the germ killing thing that they use in hospitals, right? You can buy it over the counter at any drugstore. I usually just mix Hebe Cleanse with 1 part Hebe Cleanse, 10 parts water, and then just have like a little pink bottle that I put on anything that looks like it could be, anything, right? If it looks like I'm developing something, Hebe Cleanse. That's what I have. So Hebe Cleanse and Neosporin. If you wear a mouth guard, have your mouth guard, right? That's something. I don't wear a mouth guard for jiu-jitsu. You wear a mouth guard, Jim?
I should. You know what? I do have one attached to my gym bag.
Okay.
But it's hit or miss. Usually a miss that I do not use one, but I should. We should. Just one of those things. But yes, I do have one.
Oh, and one other thing I missed on hygiene stuff is this I think is pretty important. Might actually be in the must-haves is some kind of antifungal spray, like Lamisil. Like I keep a little bottle of Lamisil in my gear bag, just to spray myself. To spray when I take my wet gi out, I spray my whole bag with Lamisil just to, fungus. How does fungus, happen? It's
dark,
wet,
moist places.
Yeah, like your gear bag. So I don't want my gear bag to be transmitting,
proliferate into
ringworm or something. So
right.
Lamisil spray, have that in my gear bag. Protective gear, right? So again, only if you need it, right? So if you have like a knee issue, elbow issue, you have a wrist issue, thumb issue, rib issue, right? Then you gotta bring your protective gear.
Headgear for cauliflower
Headgear,
ear
exactly.
Yeah.
One of my favorite brands is Bauer Fiend. So Bauer Fiend makes, especially their knee brace is very good. So a lot of competitors wear the Bauer Fiend knee brace. It's pretty expensive. It's $100. But it's mobile. It's small. You can throw it in. I usually keep one Bauer Fiend knee brace in my bag at all times. It also doubles as kind of like a pad. So when you hit, you shoot like a double or something. You shoot in for a takedown. Gives you a little pad. And I have a little bursitis in my left knee. So anytime I feel it, I just put on my Bauer Fiend knee pad, and it kind of just helps me out a little bit.
Yeah, which one did you say you use?
Bauer Fiend.
Bauer Fiend.
Yeah, Bauer Fiend is like a brand that's mostly known in, I think, basketball and tennis, but a lot of jiu-jitsu guys use it as well.
Yeah, I like the McDavid's.
Okay,
the McDavid's.
Another brand.
They have a silicone pad and a neoprene sheath, so to speak. So their knee pads and a brace at the same time.
I think the McDavid ones are a little more affordable. They're probably not $100 each, right?
No, not $100 each. There you go.
Yeah. Nail clippers. Okay, this is something that almost made it to the must-haves because there's been many times where I come to class, I'm like, oh shoot, my nails are a little bit long. I don't really want to use the Academy's nail clippers. So, nail clippers. This is a very small item. You put in your gear bag, no problem.
That is Uncle Hanach's #1 pet peeve.
Who's that?
Uncle Hanach, Laranja.
Who's that?
Hanato Laranja.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he cannot stand long nails. So
Really?
there you go. Yeah, that's
Like
in
he cannot or
no, he cannot. That's his
okay.
biggest pet peeve. And there you go, the greatest of all time, Hanato Laranja.
Got it.
All
Got
right.
it. Okay. All right. Okay. What else? We already talked about water, electrolytes, and carbohydrates. You definitely need water, but carbohydrates and electrolytes, even a little protein. If you're training longer than an hour and a half, something like that, an hour and a half longer than that, you got a little protein for a repair.
Yeah, the post workout stuff.
Yeah,
right?
post workout stuff. If you can bring a full on protein shake if you want to make sure you get your recovery in as soon. If you train multiple times a day, you might need to have your post workout stuff ready to be refueled and make sure your body's refueled for the next workout, which is in a couple hours. Right, train in the morning, have your stuff ready, and then train again later in the day. Okay, so. We covered a lot of it already. Extra training gear. So this happens to me all the time. I forget my belt. So in all my academies, I have a black belt just like sitting around. It's usually tied to a training tummy or it's like in the back. But if you don't own the academy or if you just don't have a place to store it in the academy, then keep it in your car.
Yeah.
Right. Keep it in your bag. Right. So I have an extra belt in my bag. So I have my obviously, I have my regular black belt, and then I have my judo brown belt in there in case
you just need that belt.
Going to judo.
Yeah.
Haven't been to judo in years, but if I need it, it's there. And then I have an extra black belt also in my bag too. And you'd be surprised, but when black belts visit my academy, a lot of them don't have belts for some reason. Can I borrow a black belt? Yeah, I got an extra one in my bag.
I think I used one of them one time. Yeah, the real nice, that Katara one.
Oh, yeah.
It was nice and broken in, too.
Yeah, I have a lot of Kataros, actually. People like to give them as gifts. So extra training gear. Also, if you train twice a day or more, then you definitely need extra training gear, right? Do not wear the same gi twice in a single day. Even if you can somehow get it dried, I don't think it's a good idea. There's fungus and bacteria. Every time you train, you should wash.
The funk gets reactivated as soon as you start sweating.
Plus, it smells rude to your training partner, right?
Yeah.
So if you train multiple times a day, make sure you bring your extra training gear in your gear. We already talked about extra belt. This is more for like recovery, right? But if you have nagging aches and pains, right, you probably should apply your CBD cream or your Voltaren gel or your Arnica gel. These are all names of recovery creams, by the way. You should just bring it. Bring it, apply it right away. Okay, and that's pretty much it. We talked about a lot of different things, but again, I don't have like a list. I know some websites have lists. It's like 5 things you must have in your bag. That just doesn't exist to me anyway, right? If I don't do striking, right? So I don't really ever need a mouth guard. I don't use it for jiu-jitsu. I own my academy, so I keep a lot of my stuff. Like I have Hebe Cleanse, and I have tape, and I have Band-Aids, and I have bands, and I have lacrosse balls in my academy. So I don't put it in my gear bag. But if you're going to an academy, it doesn't have these things, then yeah, maybe you want to put it in your gear bag. But those are just ideas that you can start with. Again, my biggest tip here is to try to be a minimalist. Only bring the things that you need. You wouldn't believe there was a time where my bag had like every single one of these items for no good reason, and I would use only like one of them. Like I'd pull out the band, once in a while, and then my academy had bands, and I was still bringing bands. So yeah. What should I have in my gear bag? that's what I think you should have, or a list you can choose from.
So just you know what, a little kind of I don't know, tool that not a tool, a method, an improvement that I use back to your water. You know, your water bottle recommendation is if you're training hard and it gets real hot out here where we live. One of the things I like to do is I fill up one of those insulated bottles with ice as much as I can. Then I fill that with water. But then I just take a regular tap water bottle or a regular water bottle that gets warm. But I already pack so much ice in my insulated bottle that I always have that nice, cold, refreshing ice water, during those hard training sessions. And when you're getting after it pretty hard, that cold water in between training or in between rounds really helps. And I feel it maximizes your training.
Well, 100%. You're going to – there is something with cooling down your core temperature that improves your performance, right?
Okay.
So if I – there's like two areas. It's really your core and your palms. So there's been studies where people put their palms on ice and they feel less fatigued. It's like a trick, but definitely the core. So if you have an increased core temperature, I mean there's definitely thresholds to this, but your performance can go down if your core is too hot.
You're
right?
overheated.
You're overheated. You're sensing your performance is going to decrease. Right. That's one of the byproducts of heat stress. So drinking, very cold water, I believe should have a performance benefit, but at the very least it should feel good.
It feels good. Yeah. At the end of the day, it feels good. So that's a solid list. And people out there can choose if they want to, how robust they want to be, but have those, at least start with this list right here.
Yeah, just start with that list. Don't put everything on the list, just whatever you need.
All right. Is that good?
Yes, sir.
We're good. All right. Coach Ben, dropping the knowledge. So what's in your gear bag? Now we know at least this stuff. So you can get a hold and keep in touch with Coach Ben at Coach BZ Bravo Zulu on Instagram. Thanks, Coach.
Thank you, Jim.